when you met Maggie, whether it was in 2002 or 2004, you knew that she had the qualities of a great governor and a great leader for the state of New Hampshire. We all may have seen it before she did, but thankfully she came around and had a decisive victory in 2012 in her election for governor. She had campaigned from one end of the state to the other, and she is keeping her pledge. She's keeping her promises. She is doing exactly what she told the people of New Hampshire that she would do. And I could not be more proud of my friend. I could not be more proud of my state for electing her as our governor. And every single day, I am proud of the work that she does for the people of New Hampshire. Please welcome Her Excellency, the Governor of the state of New Hampshire.
Thank you, Raymond, for wearing me down over the years. What a joy it is to be in my own neck of the woods with my family. Thank you all so much for being here. Congressman Ryan, thank you very much for joining us today and for staying in touch with your friends in New Hampshire. We are so grateful that you are here. I'm really glad that you all have eaten something. As you all know, one of the things that a New Hampshire governor is blessed to be able to do is meet with fourth graders on a regular basis. And in my first week of office, I probably had about 5 or 6 fourth grade classes through. And I'd quiz them a little bit on their civics. And then I'd ask them if they had questions for me. And they all wanted to know, Governor, how long have you been governor? And I said, like 4 days. And that started a whole conversation about what was in my office. And we got talking about, did they think I had any pictures on my walls yet, because I had just moved in. And they started suggesting what kind of artwork I should put on. And finally, one little boy raises his hand and says, a picture of a sandwich. And I said, okay, so why a picture of a sandwich? He said, because I'm really hungry. That was my cue to send them all off to lunch. So I always like speaking to crowds where people have been well fed. It is also my great pleasure to be here today with Speaker Terry Norelli and my friend Martha Fuller Clark and so many other wonderful public servants and Carol Shea Porter. You all serve us with such distinction, and we are making such great progress at the State House and in Washington, thanks to your service as well. I wanted to talk just a little bit about where we are and what the first few months have been like for me, and I think for our state, since we had the remarkable success that we did in November. First of all, thank you so much for all the work that all of you did, helping me and helping our whole ticket turn New Hampshire around. It's been incredibly important, and I have to tell you, I am asked every day whether I like the job and whether it's what I expected. And the short answer is this is the best job in the world, and it is far better than anything I ever expected. And you all are a critical part of helping me be here and helping us all do the work that we're committed to doing together. So thank you. We all ran so that we could together build a more innovative, stronger state. And what this legislative session has been about is doing exactly that. We've been focused on creating middle-class jobs, restoring cuts to higher education, and even coming up with a budget where we could get the university system to agree it would freeze tuition, along with the community college system, something so critical to our young people, as you heard from our young Democrats. A budget that makes critical improvements in our mental health system. I get a daily report of how many people in New Hampshire are waiting for acute mental health care in our hospital emergency rooms. And it ranges from a couple of dozen people to 4 dozen people. And it often includes between 4 and 10 children a day, some of who are suicidal. Some of these folks are being restrained or sedated in our hospital emergency rooms because we don't have a mental health system anymore that's serving them. So we managed to find the resources to put full funding and restoration of our mental health system into our budget, something we'll continue to work on together. We managed to focus on reversing the massive tax increases that the Tea Party placed on our hospitals. That restoration is back in our budget. We are focusing on restoring our CHINS program, the Children in Need of Services program, a program that I heard from law enforcement, from educators, from families all across the state that we needed to restore. We're focused on expanding Medicaid as part of the Affordable Care Act. We're focused on protecting our natural resources, restoring funding for LCHIP. Critical priorities that we all ran on so we could attract innovative businesses to our state, maintain and improve the quality of life in our state, and move forward together. The budget I proposed back in February was about $180 million more in general fund spending than what Bill O'Brien passed when he was Speaker in the last term. And the House, as you heard Speaker Norelli talk about, did a terrific job of working really hard to put together a budget that was responsible and that reflected our values too. The difference in the two budgets, my budget and the House budget, is the difference in whether we have $80 million in a licensing fee from one high-end destination casino. That's the difference. And the House budget that was passed, which reflected terrific, hard, thoughtful work, is about $57 million less than the one I proposed. It doesn't fully fund the university system at a level where they think they can freeze tuition. It fell short on school building aid. And because of the difference in our budget numbers and our revenues, the House budget doesn't provide the kind of hospital funding that will allow us to expand Medicaid. So that's what's at stake right now as we move forward with the budget process. Now, the House also included an amendment to its budget that allows for restoration of some of these items if a licensing fee is achieved by us passing the bill for a single high-end casino. So we have recognized what our differences are, and we know that this is a real challenge moving forward for all of us. This week, the Senate will start to work or to vote on its budget. And we know from the revenue estimates that the Senate is using, as Senator Fuller Clark mentioned, that they plan to cut another $100 million from the budget that was sent over to them from the House. So that means that we could be looking at the end of this week of a Senate-passed budget that is about, another $100 million short, so about $157 million less than the budget I proposed. Maybe $20 to $30 million more than the one that was passed by the Tea Party over the last couple of years. So what's at stake in the next few weeks in Concord is what kind of budget we're going to end up having. Are we going to be able to fund LCHIP? Are we going to be able to make critical investments in health and human services and mental health funding? Are we going to be able to freeze tuition at UNH? Are we going to be able to provide the kind of workforce that our innovative, high-tech, advanced manufacturing companies want and need? I travel all around the state, about a business a week, talking with employers, talking with potential businesses. They want and need a highly educated workforce. And that will be critical to our ability to grow economically, to give the people of New Hampshire the kind of innovative, strong economy that creates good middle-class jobs. That's what's at stake. So, as Raymond mentioned, and as all of you know, we have a vote coming up on this casino bill. And it has been the kind of dialogue already that I think we can all be proud of. We have done a lot of work together, and there are a lot of differences of opinion about the bill. But I get asked all the time why I'm supporting it and why it's so important to me, and I think to our state. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time today talking about that, because it is a critical issue for us. We have this chance to reverse the cuts that were made over the last couple of years by the Tea Party and to reinvest in our state in critical ways. And the Speaker and Martha are right. We can't do everything we need to do at once. But we do need to make critical investments now in our mental health system, in our university and college systems. We need to be able to restore money to our hospitals so that we can expand Medicaid and help the President implement the Affordable Care Act. That is all at stake. And so Massachusetts is going forward with 3 high-end casinos. New Hampshire will be hit by the impact, the social impacts of those casinos, because our citizens spend about $700 million a year gambling, both here and in other states. And the issue for us is whether we're going to control our own destiny, be able to take that licensing fee in this biennium and invest in these critical places so that we can have the kind of innovative and strong economy that creates more choices, more jobs, better futures for the people of our state. Voters elected us because of the priorities we set out, because we talked about reinvesting in an innovation economy, because we talked about reinvesting in CHINs and mental health and in protecting our natural resources. The only kind of revenue that has bipartisan support right now, increased revenue, is a casino. About 63% of the people of this state, statewide, every geographic region, support one high-end destination casino. 67% of Democrats support it. 66% of undeclared voters support it. Only 52% of Republicans support it, but it's still a majority. Our House members took the Senate bill, and they have done great work in examining every single piece of it. And they have come up with some terrific amendments that strengthen the bill and I think address a lot of the concerns. Their amendments strengthen regulation. They increase oversight by the Attorney General's office, increase the minimum capital investment required by any casino that would bid, enhances the protection for charitable gaming and entertainment venues, encourages casinos to hire New Hampshire residents, and prohibits the casino industry from making political contributions to anyone in New Hampshire. The omnibus amendment that the House worked so hard on deserves consideration, and I hope it will have it on the floor on Wednesday. A number of voters and a number of you have asked me questions about the bill and have expressed concern about casino gambling. You've said to me, it's a slippery slope. We live in the Granite State. We live in New Hampshire. If we were too worried about slippery slopes, we would never go outside in the wintertime. We navigate slippery slopes. That is what we do. That's what good legislators do. That's what a self-governing, democratic people does. We are capable of navigating these slippery slopes as we are other ones that come up with all difficult issues that we deal with as a society and as a culture. I have faith in the people of New Hampshire. I have faith in our capacity to self-govern. Because at the end of the day, what really matters here is whether we are going to keep faith with the people of our state. They elected us to create jobs. They elected us to freeze tuition. They elected us to improve health care and implement the President's Affordable Care Act. They elected us to strengthen our communities by investing in public health and public safety. They elected us to make critical investments so we could have a stronger, more innovative state. So I am talking with everybody I can about why I think the decision to go forward with one high-end casino is so important, and I'll continue to do that. But at the end of the day, what's even more important to me is something that Congressman Ryan mentioned, that Carol mentioned, that we see on a daily basis when we read about the national news. We live in a country in which people really wonder whether, in fact, it's possible for this democracy to continue. They see a very broken Washington, D.C. They know we have some wonderful servants like Congressman Ryan, like Carol there, like Jean Shaheen there. But they wonder whether we can get by the gridlock, whether people can still talk to each other. What I am so proud to be able to say as your governor, whenever I travel the country and back here at home, is that we still live in a state where democracy actually works. 424 elected representatives, senators and representatives together, earning $100 a year, show up to the State House day in and day out to talk with each other, after talking with the people they represent, and to solve problems. We have a Republican Senate, and yes, I would much prefer if we had a Democratic one, because I share the values of all of you and the Democratic Party, and it would be a better state if we had a Democratic Senate. But we don't right now. We have a Republican Senate. And the key issue for us over the next 6 weeks, as we build this budget, as we come together, is whether we can show the people of New Hampshire that we know how to not only talk to each other, but to listen to them. To remember what their hopes and dreams are, what their priorities are, why they elected all of us, and how they think we should proceed. And if we can do that, if we can remember that the genius of our founders was that when you respect individual freedoms, when you listen to each other, when you bring people in from the margins generation by generation into the heart and soul of democracy and community, and then engage them in the democratic process, when you do all that, you have a granite state democracy. And when you do all that, you can show the rest of the country and the rest of the world that democracy, even amongst our disagreements, even with different political parties in control, can still in fact work. So that's what's at stake. Our founders, everybody thought when this country was started 237 years ago, that we were crazy to think that a self-governing people could also be an economically strong people. And the British thought we were just incredibly arrogant to even consider it. We have been showing our doubters that they were wrong for every generation since. And what is at stake as we move forward is whether we're going to remind each other that when we honor our individual freedoms, when we listen to each other, when we come together to find our way forward, so that we can make critical investments now to move our state forward and support the people who need it, to allow each and every individual in this state to reach their potential. When we do that, nothing will stop us. And the Granite State will move forward, and we will continue to make progress, and we will all thrive. So thank you all for everything you have done to help us be here today, to help us have a Democratic House and a Democratic corner office. We gained a lot of seats in the Senate. We'll keep working at that. But more than anything else, please know that this is ground zero for democracy, and I am so proud to be your leader of it. Thank you.